This conference will now be recorded.
Actually, one of my colleagues he's very new to EC payroll, so he got stuck in they were starting with Middle East payroll along with EC payroll. So I had to support him. So I couldn't yesterday, couldn't find time. So no problem. I will be today. Actually, my intention is not to start wherever we have left. So today will be just I'll be showcase some topic. It is not related to certification, but from an implementation point of view, that workbook I will be discussing. Okay, and from wherever we have left in yesterday, the day before, that will continue tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow and day after tomorrow we'll continue from there tomorrow. But today we'll be going through the workbook, which is actually I thought of explaining at the end, but as we proceeded a lot of things, so I thought of covering it today. So let's check with Rohini whether she's joined or not. Hey, hi Rohini, good evening.
Hi, Naya. Good morning.
Hi, good evening, Rohini. We're not started. Just I was telling that wherever we have left in the last session, that we will continue in tomorrow's session. Okay, because I couldn't get a chance to take those screenshots from a live system. Okay, what we'll do today, we'll be covering the workbook piece. Okay, so which is the important from an implementation point of view. That workbook today I'll be taking you through. Okay, so how to fill up the workbook, what are the different sections. Okay, so that we'll be covering. So I was telling the same thing to Miradi as well. Okay, so we will start now. Yeah. So in SuccessFactors EC payroll, we have two workbook. Okay. So this is the first one which I am showing you. This is one of the core configuration workbook from SuccessFactors. It is called SAP SuccessFactors EC payroll configuration workbook. Okay. And there is another workbook that is related to the time management and time sheet and all. So what we will do, we'll be going through the each and every sheet of it and what are the things we have covered till now, that I will showcase you. Okay, and again from the time management point of view, I also, because that is the time management point of view, that workbook is a more 90% of the time we take help from time consultant, EC time consultant. Okay, so that workbook you have to work closely with the time consultant who is part of your implementation. Okay, so but this workbook will be your main area of focus. Okay, so if you see in this workbook we have a different sheets. The first sheet is actually the readme first. So readme first, so whenever you are delivering the workbook to the client, you remove this page. This is just for your reference. Okay, you have to remove this page. It is just mention the URL, like where you have to go to the, means whatever the URL I have sent earlier, the help.sap.com, that's specific to EC payroll. What are the URL that they have given? Okay, so that you can remove. Okay, so once it is done, the second piece is overview. Okay, so here in the overview worksheet, you will be finding. So what are the different topics inside this particular EC workbook, EC payroll workbook? Okay, and you will be finding in the worksheet there are different worksheet. It has been explained like master data, earning and deduction, payroll area and payroll period. Okay, all these you will be finding. So we'll be discussing one by one. So, but this workbook is whatever I have, so I'm showing you, it is specific to USA payroll. Okay. Suppose in tomorrow you are implementing for any other country payroll, you just have to remove what is not required for that country, because garnishment is targeted only for USA and Canada and all. So you can remove this topic which is very specific for USA. Okay, so that is one point. And another thing I would like to highlight here, like suppose if you are not using ADP, that is the ADP payroll. Okay, there suppose then you have to remove this also. Okay, whatever is not relevant for you. But there are some generic topics like which will be applicable for all other countries like third-party remittance, off-cycle payment, process models, any gaps. So capturing any gaps the client is having in their current process. So those things you can capture one by one. Okay, so we'll be discussing one by one in this. In this sheet, you will be finding there are three columns: worksheet, description, and comment section. So what are the different topics here? It is very simple, and we'll be discussing one by one. The first topic is master data. Okay. So when I say master data, you will be finding here there are two sections. Okay, so the data model replication actually it will be not part of this section. Okay, there is so that is again from an integration point of view. Okay, but this in this worksheet you will be finding what are the different data replication you are going to do. You are just capturing those. Okay, there are two sections. In the left hand side you will be seeing employee central related master data, and the right hand side you will be seeing SAP cloud payroll, that is your EC payroll. Okay, what are the different info types and all you'll be finding there. And in the middle you'll be finding EC payroll accessed via EC or EC payroll. So here again you will be finding info types which is targeted for your USA. So we'll be seeing here garnishment, PSI and all. Similarly, as you can customize it as per your the country which you are implementing. Okay, say if you are implementing Canada, then you have to mention those Canada specific info types and all here. Okay, so this is just a screenshot I have taken, but you have to mention in a sheet like this what are the different employee. Suppose an employee central, these are the different info types we are ready for master data replication, like info type 2, that is your employee information, average working time, that is your info type 7. Compensation related information will be captured in your info type 8, 14, 15. Communication information like your email ID, your phone number. So these are all on-premise info types. Okay, so here you might be finding it little difficult, but here whenever you will be hiring an employee in your on-premise system, if you navigate to those specific info types, then you will be finding all these master data information. Okay, similarly,
Prepares this document, Nayan?
sorry,
Who prepares this document?
this document will be prepared by your is the implementation partner, you, as well as your client will be giving the inputs. Okay, so as a consultant you have to prepare this document. Okay, but after doing this you have to send it to the client for the verification whether whatever you have filled, whether it is in sync or it's not. But many times actually clients generally it should be filled by them, but many times I have seen they are not conversant with, they are not comfortable with filling all these seats, so they need your help. Okay, so along with the client you will be first during your workshop you will be working with them, like the different areas or sections which we have in success factor employee central payroll. So you have to walk through them, then they will be filling, and is there any gap or any observations, you can mention these all these in across all this seat. Okay, if additional any seat is required which is specific for the client, that also you can capture it here. This is a kind of workbook whenever you are then like a similar to business blueprint which we do in the on-premise section, on-premise payroll. Similar things you can capture it here and everything. Then you have to sign it, send it this document for sign off. Okay, client will be signing off this document, then you will be starting your configuration. Okay? That is the idea, Mirari. Is that clear?
Okay. Yeah.
So so if the many times what I have seen, suppose after signing up this is actually a live document, so it's not like there will be permanent thing. So once you have done with your discovery workshop, whenever you have started configuration and in the next cycle, the first cycle, say iteration 1, suppose you have shown to the client this is how payroll will work and all. If during that iteration, suppose the client has asked for some changes, okay, that also you have to capture it here. Okay, like you can maintain 3 seat like iteration 1 or iteration, or in the every seat you can have like one column. Say you can say here, say this is a iteration 1, iteration 1. This is from my experience with which I usually do. So iteration 2 and iteration 3. So depending on project timeline, you can have either 2 iteration or 3 iteration depending upon your project timeline and budget. Okay, so here you have to just mention those specific scenarios. So if the client has made some changes, no, this input type they do not want, and client came up with no, this is another input type which we are using in the on-premise system, that also input type to be captured, custom input type. Okay, so those kind of delta changes, it should not be very big changes, rather some delta changes if it is coming up, and that observation you can mention in this column. So against for each and every field whatever your changes is happening, so that changes you will be incorporating in the next cycle of your design. Okay, so that is the idea. It is not only applicable for EC payroll, like any other modules also you might have done same stuff. Okay, so it is also very useful for to complete this workbook, and you mention those changes and you have to incorporate those changes. So this is the way we do. Okay. So this is here you will be finding a summary of the master data. So from a first you will be seeing all the summary. So then you will be finding, so here suppose there is any ADP configuration required, you have to discuss this, otherwise you just remove this line item. Okay, so for this similarly you'll be finding master data usually coming from employee central but overwritten on EC payroll. Okay, so whenever any specific EC needs to be maintained manually or the EC payroll system, so here you have to maintain like what are the input types you are going to capture, okay, in a very detailed manner. Okay, now suppose the client inside the input type 9, specific fields are important for the client and specific fields they are not using. Okay, that detail level you can mention it here. Okay, so that it will be helpful during your configurations. Similarly, when it comes to the payroll data, so your payroll data will be maintained in EC payroll. There are some specific fields like your input type 15, employee remuneration field. Okay, so all these fields, whatever the client is using, you have to capture it here. And this here I have given just for sample example. This number will be vary from client to client because the list of waste types which the client is using, that may vary. Okay, and what are those waste types, and is there any special characteristics for those waste types, is there any peculiarities of those waste types, that you will be capturing it here. Okay, so those information. Okay. So these are a list of waste types and which info types, under which info types they are using. Say I'll be giving an example here. Say any survivor benefit they are using, that they are capturing it under info type 15 at present in the on-premise. Okay, so is there any speciality for that particular waste type, or is this a normal only payment? Okay, that you have to capture it here, all the information. Similarly for reimbursement, okay, most of the reimbursement they are supposed they are doing of your info type 267. Okay, so here you will be seeing what are the specific peculiarity of that, or any special characteristics of that particular info types or the waste types. You have to capture it here. Okay, so this sheet is all about your master data. In the column number E, whatever you have seen, this is just a sample example. Okay, so here you have to mention those customer specific waste type. This is not a final, so you have to just remove it, and whatever the client is using under a particular input type, this list you have to discuss with the client, and you have to see what are the things they are using. And it may happen some of the waste types might be obsolete. They don't want to take it to, they are no longer used, then no need to capture these in this particular worksheet. Okay, so this is the idea to cover all this topic in this particular sheet. Master data, all the master data related to your payroll information, that will be capturing. So info type 14, 15, you'll be seeing a lot of things here. Okay, so all these things you will be capturing as an consultant. You'll be capturing all this. This column E is important, it will be changed drastically, so it's for your client requirement whatever you are using. Okay, other than that there is no here. You have to just keep see what are those specific input types. Depending upon country, it will be changing again, column on this column FGH. Other than that, it will almost standard one, the right hand side and left hand side. Okay, Where whatever you are using, you have to just capture it in your master data. Okay? That is the idea. Any question here in the master data replica means this worksheet?
So how do we come up with those info types? What do we go over all the info types from
Yeah.
of client who provides
Yeah.
that information, or how do you come up with those info types?
So these info types, these are fixed actually. So in info type EC payroll, from EC payroll point of view, you will be using this. These are the all payroll related information, like info type for 15, 14. Okay, so these are the fixed thing. But you have to see in your client environment in the on-premise system how they are using it. Okay. So mostly we have seen client is using this info type 15, 2010 to 67. So there you don't have to take all the info types, rather which are relevant for the payroll. Okay, so for on-premise payroll, only those info types. It may happen client is not comfortable in, suppose they are not into technical, so they might be knowing how they are using it, but in the backend how they are configured they might not be knowing. Okay, so in that case you have to take help from their IT, who will be generally responsible for on-premise configuration, of who has done that configuration the previous time. Okay, that any implementation guide or any documents during their on-premise. Okay, so that you can capture. Otherwise, if you're doing from the scratch, then you have to just create all these things of your own and you just capture it here. Okay, there can be two way. One is the client is already using on-premise HCM payroll, SAP HCM payroll, or the second option is the client is a brand new SAP customer and they are starting everything from scratch. Okay, then it is a little easier. If they are doing from scratch, then you will be configuring all these waste types and you have to capture it here itself. Okay, and if the client is not using if the client is using on-premise, then you have to take that dump from the existing environment. Okay, that is the only difference here. Is that clear, Virati?
Yeah, so if client doesn't have SAP previously and now they are implementing payroll directly into cloud,
Hmm.
will that be still valid, what you just said?
In that case, what you will be doing, you will be capturing this information. So let me just open another document which you use generally for uh, it is just specific to Canada only. I'll just show you. Can you see this KDS document?
Yeah.
So if the client is a brand new customer to SAP, okay, so they might, so you have to use this separate document. There is a separate document. It is not offered by SAP, which I have created from my experience. Okay, so here you will be finding all the basic configuration from the on-premise. Okay, company code, personal area, personal sub area. Okay, so I'll be coming to the main topic that is related to your payroll. You'll be creating all these stuff, period parameter, rate modifier, which we have seen in the earlier session. Okay, so you will be creating such kind of so I will be sharing this document which I prepared of my own. Okay, so here you will be capturing all those information. Okay, like period parameter, what are the configuration you will be doing and what is the path. Okay, and here you will be capturing those information. What will be my time unit, what is my start date and end date. Okay, so similarly you will be filling all this sheet which is in green color in the tab, which are relevant for your payroll. Okay, like date modifier, payroll area, so how many pay scale type, pay scale, so what are the grouping of this. Okay, you will be finding all these things. So these all information. So this is the important one, the waste type which I was talking about, where you will be, suppose you are creating for the first time in the on-premise system, you will be capturing all this information, like this is my list of waste types which the client is interested, and whether it is a monthly payment or it is a normal annual payment or it is an ongoing ad hoc payment. Okay, so that you can capture it. This is actually you can take the requirement. Okay, so like this, whether there is a calculation, is there any calculation formula for a particular thing. Okay, similar kind of sheet you can prepare whenever you are doing it from scratch. Okay, so if you're not having any on-premise payroll in SAP, Okay. So this will be an additional workbook which actually SAP doesn't provide it, but people take this information in different way, take different approach. Okay. So similarly, you can also take this approach, like you can ask to the client what are the possible waste types they would like to create, and what are the things, set of configurations, set of waste types you can take, and you have to understand how this any speciality of this specific waste type. Similarly, the for cost center also, for their client will be having different cost center and all. This information you'll be getting from your finance people. Okay, so it will be helpful for you. So I'll be sharing this document, but that it is not a deliverable as such. You can also merge that particular document into this particular whatever EC payroll document which I am showing. Okay. In this way, if the client is a brand new SAP customer, you can capture in a different sheet, and you can capture all those information into this EC payroll workbook. Okay. So that is the scenario. There can be ideally there will be two scenarios only. You will be either having an on-premise which is already existing, or it is not existing. Okay, or it may happen the client is already using some other kinds of payroll. Okay, their legacy payroll and all. In that case also, you have to, suppose if you are starting from scratch, the first approach you will be taking, like thinking they do not have anything in the SAP on-premise payroll. Okay, that approach you have to take care. Does that
Okay.
answer?
Yeah.
So you can, it is not like you have to be very rigid whenever it is you are designing this workbook or completing this workbook. Wherever it is required, SAP is given a lot of options. You just, if it is not relevant for you, say this is a general benefit information, or you are not implementing benefit modules, okay, at present, and so you can remove it, or you can make it a change, like it to be decided later, or to be implemented in the second phase of the implementation. You can mention these things, and this this EC payroll document workbook will be a live document wherever you are having any changes. Okay, so just you have to again sign off those the customer that these are the changes you have requested, and we are going to change in our configuration as well. So you have to make this communication very clear, like these are the things we have already changing, and you just sign off whatever you have said. Okay, so that you can communicate with the client and all. Next comes your earning and deduction. So the earning and deduction, again, it will be as I was mentioning. This is again customer earning code, customer specific deduction code. The client will be telling, so these are my list of waste types which is used for earning, say basic pay or HRA or anything. And then these are the set of my allowances or deductions, that, and how the tax implication for each and every waste types. Okay, that information you can capture it here directly. Okay, so that is the earning and deduction piece. Just you have to segregate what are the earning, because in the first sheet we have just taken everything. Okay, all the payroll related. You have to just segregate all those info types or waste type inside that particular waste types. What are my earning waste types and what are my deduction? Just you have to prepare a two columns here, and you have to mention those earning and deduction by discussing with your client. Once it is done, the next sheet is all about your payroll area and payroll period. Okay, so depending upon your client organization, how they are paying, how the frequency, okay, whether it is an as I was mentioning, date modifier decides whether it is an how frequently payment is done, whether it is a fortnightly, whether it is a monthly, or it is a bi-weekly payment. Okay, all those information you'll be capturing here. Okay, so like payroll area, again, it is for your reference point of view. Just you have to mention, you have to make this client specific. It can be 2-digit alphanumeric. Okay, so you can decide that payroll area name. Okay, and what is that their pay date, you can just mention it. Period parameter is actually how frequently. Okay, so like it will be paid, that you have to mention it here. Okay, all this date modifier and period, again this is again a repetitive, like date modifier, period parameter, these are coming from your on-premise topic. Okay, that you have to capture it here. Once it is done, then any default payroll area. Okay, suppose in US you are implementing for USA, and there are, suppose you are having different, for a particular employee subgroup, you are creating a payroll area defaulted mean the sense, whenever you are creating any employee, automatically for he or for she belongs to a particular employee subgroup or employee category, then automatically this payroll area you can define it is a default payroll area, but it is an optional thing. Okay, so you can there is an option in the SAP payroll that you can default those payroll area. And similarly, your closing date, the financial closing period, this is you can run a program, okay, in the on-premise that we have already seen, that you whenever you are configuring the system, you have to suppose you are implementing from 2020 April, okay, so you can create this period, all this payroll period in one go by running that particular program. Okay, say for 5 year, next 5 year you are creating this payroll period. Basically it will generate the, you don't have to manually maintain the start date, end date, pay date, posting date. You don't have to maintain. System will automatically generate that particular, whenever you run that particular program. Just you have to tell to the system like, this is my start date, this is my end date. Okay, so this is the way you can capture that information. So once you run that program, so after that you have to just download that particular sheet and you have to capture it here. Like these are my posting date, or it is again optional. Like you have to just capture this information. You can also mention like 2020 to 2025 the payroll period has been created. If any changes required, and no means no in terms of pay date, you have to maintain it manually. Otherwise, if at the end of the 2025 you have to just make an instruction, like the people who will be handling this system, they have to run that particular program once again. But again, it can be if you're running for a 10 year or next 15 years, okay, system doesn't stop you. Okay, like you can run it for keeping, but it's a best practice. It's always a 10 year, 5 year, you just maintain that program and update that particular program. Okay, then this information you have to just capture for the IT or client reference later on. Okay, so this is regarding your how you'll be capturing your payroll area, which you'll be configuring, and the payroll period. Okay, so the next one is your planned working time and absences. So here again you have to discuss with your workforce software. Suppose the client is using workforce, okay, your time related integration. So you have to work with your what are any, is there any difference in whenever you are paying to the employee depending upon your shift timing. Okay, so is there any those specific terminology you will be mentioning here? Is there any difference in shift whenever you are paying? Okay, is there any effect? What is the effect to the payroll? Okay, so how this is coming from your EC time off or EC workforce software. Okay, so that information you will be capturing. Okay, similarly there can be some specific schedule, say work schedule, or is there any exceptions? Okay, all those things related to the workforce you have to consult with your workforce SAP EC workforce consultant or EC time consultant. So those information you'll be capturing here as an during your requirement gathering session or discovery session. You'll be capturing those information. And what are those specific work schedule they are using? So this is just an example. Like it can be depending upon your client system. It will be vary. Means how many work hour per day, 8 hours or 9 hours or 10 hours. What is the shift timing? Okay, so all this information you generally this information will be getting directly from the time consultant. Okay, so they will must be knowing this information. From AC payroll point of view, just capture those information from the client or the consultant who is working closely with the client for this topic. Okay, so it will be main important part is actually whether it is any impact to the salary, so that we are concerned about. Okay, so if there is any deviation in changes in the work schedule, how it is impacting your payroll, that information you have to capture, like whether it is hourly payment or it is an salaried payment. Okay, monthly. Okay, how many hours per, is there any break schedule in between? Okay, so all those information you'll be getting from your EC time consultant as well as time office. Okay, so those information, and also you'll be finding what are the implication if there is any proration, or is there any, suppose the person is joining in the middle of the month, so how this proration will work, whether it is really paying, generally it will be prorated. Okay, and what are the changes in the, which are the wage types it will be changed according to your prorated, and which are the wage types will not be prorated. Okay, so those things information you have to just capture as an input here. Similarly your there is something called feature in our week. Okay, so by default you can decide whether it is a work week. Okay, so the requirement to FLSA, this is again US specific. Okay, similarly there is feature called SCHKJ, so this you will be finding in the on-premise. Okay, so you can default a particular work schedule. For suppose you are choosing a particular country, say USA, you can default a particular work schedule. That this work schedule, it will be some morning 8 to evening 5 p.m. Okay, so whenever you are hiring an employee, directly default this particular feature will be applicable for that employee. Okay, so those default options, so still we have whatever you are using in the on-premise. So this feature is nothing new. Whatever feature you are using in the on-premise, so how they are going to use that, you can take snapshot of that, how the client is using. Otherwise, if the client wants to do from scratch, that you can capture it here. Is there any option to ask any scheduling? But again, in optional, okay, but it will make your life easier. Suppose if you're defaulting certain things in the payroll itself, okay, by using the functionality of feature. So this is regarding your planned working time and absences. So the next one is your basic pay and salary structure. Okay, so here you will be mentioning like you will be having different pay scale type, pay scale area, pay scale group, and pay scale level. But in the EC payroll side, we are using only these two options. Okay, pay scale type and pay scale areas enough, more than enough. We don't use pay scale group and pay scale level. Okay, so what you can do, so whatever whatever in the client system you are using, say pay scale type, and try to capture here in this two information, this structure, pay scale type and pay scale area, whether it is a monthly payment or it is in salaried payment. Okay, and how, and also the rounding of your currency. Okay, so whenever you're using the wage types, whatever, okay, so how the rounding of will be working, like whether up to 2 digit or 3 digit, generally 2 digit after decimals people use, or you want like to round off to the how the rounding of principle that you can decide. Okay, that will be captured in your EC pay components. Okay, so what are the relevant specific wage types for the corresponding wage types for that, that will be mentioning here in this sheet. So this is again for your reference, but again this will vary, all these wage types and their characteristics. Okay, it will vary from client to client. You have to just be careful about that. Next is your payment method. So this is again straightforward. So client mostly these days there is no cash payment, rather everything is a kind of a direct deposit. But again depends upon you, they're paying through card or they're paying through directly deposited to the bank. Okay, so this kind of information you will be capturing here. So like is there any check payment or not? Okay, so that will be relevant. And also the what are the possible banks. Okay, so if the client is dealing with say any specific bank, they would like to have those information. It is required from a finance point of view, like this bank routing number, account ID, okay, bank account for the clients. Okay, so all these information will be kept required from a payment point of view, like bank, because what happens, so whatever the bank routing number, there is a concept of bank routing number that requires to be uploaded into the EC payroll. So before though you start any kind of interface to that. Okay, so that will be stored in your info type 9, that is your bank info type. Okay, so that bank info type, so bank routing number, you'll be getting it from the finance. Okay, and also if you're using ADP, then there will be a separate table for that. Okay, but there is no validations of this employees, because whatever you are maintaining in EC and EC payroll, system will take care of it, but you have to ensure it is correct. So those information you'll be capturing here. How many banks are there you are paying through? It depends upon, like there are about three different, you are using three, or you are giving an option to three different banks with different three locations. Okay, so then you can capture those payment method, house bank, and account ID specific for that. That information will be capturing in this particular payment and payment method. Okay, so this is again a simple one, or like very difference. In the next sheet, you will be finding the gross payroll. So gross payroll here, actually we have decided, like if there is any absences, how it will be captured. Is there any whatever things we have seen, the premium, FLSA processing, quota compensation, if there is any leave encashment. Okay, suppose do you have any leave encashment policies and all. So all those which are relevant, if the client is not using, then you have to just mention, like here I have mentioned union processing. Custom doesn't have any union. Okay, the concept there is no union. So there is no, we don't have to do any specific configuration for any union specific payment. We don't have to do that. Okay, that information will be capturing. Okay, similarly any calculations which is happening for bonus. Okay, so here you have to remember, like bonuses that are maintained in EC only interface to InfoType 15. So at present what happens, InfoType 267 is not currently supported for any integration point of, from integration point of view. Okay, so you have to, in that case you have to do a change management. If the client earlier using InfoType 267 for any kind of bonus payment or off cycle payment, okay, so that you have to pay it through InfoType 15. Okay, so you have to configure accordingly. Okay, so these are some key points just I would like to
So,
highlight.
quick question here.
Yeah.
So how was it determined? Was it determined that InfoType 267 is not currently supported?
So it is again in SAP it told us, like if you, this is not at present it is supported, you'll be using InfoType 15 only. So actually I also didn't find any reason for that, but at present it is not supported. It may happen in the future release they will extend it, but at present whenever you're doing an integration, so InfoType 15 only you have to use for all kind of bonus payment, or because there is some processing classes, so some changes is required. Okay, so for that off cycle payment. Okay, so for that reason actually as of now they are not using InfoType 267, but whatever you are doing, suppose if you are using the InfoType 267 for off cycle payment earlier, okay, you will be using this InfoType 15 for as of now. Okay. So it may happen in the future release, they will be extending this application and they will be coming up with a new solution, something like that. But as of now, they are recommending us to use InfoType 15.
Okay, thank you.
So that's the instruction given by SAP. We can't question them why they are using, but due to some reason in the backend, they might have thought that. Okay, but as of now, that is the instruction from them. It may subject to change depending upon your future release of this product. Okay, because this is a product which is going a lot of changes during the last 2.5 years. Okay, so you can expect also similar kind of information coming from SAP, and they will be, in that case they will be updating this workbook in the future release, and they'll be saying, no, this information is now no more valid and you have to adopt accordingly. The next one is the statutory requirement, that is your taxes. So taxes are very straightforward, you don't have to worry about it. Only thing is you have to mention those company code, and which is generally created by the finance. Okay, what are the company code and what are the tax company you are using. Okay, so again you will be assigning, so this is in on-premise configuration. Okay, like you will be assigning those specific tax company to personal sub area, which we have already seen. So specific to personal sub area, you'll be assigning those tax code accordingly, it depending upon your locations and all in US or Canada. So you'll be, those specific tax code and tax rate will be applicable. Okay, and for any tax related changes, okay, so those changes generally it is done directly by SAP. So what they do every financial year beginning, so they will be updating those thing in the directly in the system, in the cloud system. So we don't have to apply those notes manually. So what we used to do in the on-premise days, suppose I'm giving an example. Suppose in India, every year financial year it starts from April to March. So like we are doing the month of February or March, there is some budget changes announcement comes, and SAP prepares those KBA, those knowledge-based articles. They will be mentioning. So these notes you have to apply to make those budget changes or any specific finance related, tax related changes. Okay, so you have to apply for those changes. Then we, as a consultant, they have to go to the system. They have to refer that KBA, knowledge-based article, and they have to do all the changes. So what are the table changes? What are the slab changes? Okay, they usually do. Then after doing that, they have to run a cycle, testing cycle and all. So there are two things. One is the configuration and testing. But when it comes to success factor EC payroll, the first part is taken care by SAP. That is the all the legal changes or everything which is statutory in nature. Those changes will be implemented directly by SAP in the system. Only thing is the second piece, which is the testing piece, which you have to do undergo. Okay, once you start upgrading, Okay, so you will be doing all those tax related testing. Is there any tax implications? What are the tax implication previously and what are the tax implication now? Okay, so those things we will be doing in the EC payroll. So that is also a little convenient for the customer as well as the consultant and for everyone. Okay, SAP made those decisions like all those statutory changes they will be done by they themselves, and with the upgrade they will be able to get all those statutory changes directly in the EC payroll. So you have to just do the testing piece as a consultant or as client. Okay, you do whatever the changes have been done. So that changes up means you have to undergo the testing phase. No, okay, so only that piece you have to understand. So these all you'll be finding all this information like for the in US for different locations you have different tax codes. There are different rates available. Okay, so all this information you'll be capturing here in the tax company and tax authorities and all. So that information will be handy whenever you are doing the implementations. Okay, and also for an ongoing basis. So every year, any changes required, you have to just capture those information so that this workbook you have to update every time whenever any changes required and all. The next piece is related to the tax reporting ADP. So this is actually not required if you are not using ADP. If you are not using ADP, just remove it. Okay. Otherwise, this information you will be discussing with the if you are using ADP, then you have to discuss with your ADP consultant. So the client must be having some ADP person or point of contact or directly from ADP. Okay, those information will be capturing here, like any specific requirement from a tax reporting point of view. Okay, that information will be capturing. And generally, I have seen this tax reporting information directly. This information you can send it to the ADP, so they will be filling it of this sheet, and you have to just update this sheet in the EC payroll workbook. Okay, so this is nothing much. If the client is not using ADP, just remove it. The next one is your pay stub. Okay, so in the pay stub, basically you can decide, suppose say pay slip, like what are the here I've just SAP has given. Suppose the client is using ADP, then you can give an example. But if the client is not using, just to remove it, then you mention in your pay stub what are the components you are capturing. Okay, and for this you may need help from ABAP, like any changes in the pay slip configurations and all. Okay, by using HR form, or there is a concept of P51, but P51 form we are no longer using. It's a that's more of a classic one. But HR form you can use for designing any kind of pay slip or any statement, payroll statement. Those things you can use. So that information you can capture it, or you can prepare a functional document, like these are the information you require, and you can give that. There is a concept of FSTS, like functional specification, technical specification. You can take that approach as well. You'll be deciding like these are my functional requirement from a pay slip point of view or pay stub point of view, and you ask your ABAP consultant or how they'll be configuring. If the client is already using some kind of pay slip in the on-premise payroll, so in that case you don't have to worry about it. You have to take a snapshot of that, and you make sure all those components, okay, whenever you're doing the testing, all those components are appearing in your EC payroll or your salary or pay slip. That you have to capture it here. Then next comes your garnishment. Again, it is specific to US payroll or Canada payroll. Okay, what are the possible categories of garnishment you are going to configure? That you'll be mentioning here. And those specific corresponding wage types. What are the specific wage type for those specific garnishment? We just capture it here in this particular field. Whether it is required or not required, you have just mentioned in the column number I. That is the garnish from a garnishment point of view. Next one is your FI posting. So this you have to sit with your SAP finance person. Okay, so what are the so you'll be finding there are two things. One is the cost center, cost elements, GL account, vendor account, and all. Okay. And there is another set of scenarios. You'll be having say posting of expenses, posting of receivable, payable. So the source and there are some certain, as I was saying, there are two way of integration. Okay, few information will be going from your SAP Finance to EC Payroll, like your cost center and cost center group. All this information will be replicated from your finance. Okay, so SAP Finance, and there are certain information like after running your payroll, like expenses, receivable, all these posting documents, it will be captured from your EC payroll to the SAP Finance. So this you have to just confirm is there any deviation. Generally, standard people use that specific notes you have to prepare it. If the client is using it in a different way, okay, that you have to capture in this particular worksheet. Other than that, it remains the same, similar this. So here I have a question here for you, Midhari, as you are aware of. So can you let us know what is the ALE? You must be knowing this, yeah, but still.
It's application link enabling. So between the two SAP systems, for example, we have one HCM system and the other finance system.
Mm-hmm.
How do you connect?
Okay, okay.
That
Got it.
connection is called ALE.
Yes, it's very
Application link enable.
application link enabling. So this is an ABAP terminology. Long back when I was working in ABAP 2010-11, I can relate to that. So this is an ALE scenario. So here we call it as an ALE scenario, but don't be confused, Rohini. So this is nothing but it's a kind of integrations between two system of SAP Finance and SAP on-premise or EC payroll. Okay. So these are different scenarios. So you can say, so just you have to capture this information. So mostly these are standard, so you don't have to do any changes, all these things. Only thing is, if there are any specific deviations in this, you have to just capture this note. Otherwise, you can just keep it a blank. So client will be giving all these specific business scenarios and all, what are they are posting and how they are posting and all. But it is a more of a standard things. Okay, you don't have to worry about it. So the next one is the month-end accrual. Suppose how the accrual scenarios happens in your on-premise, so that information will be capturing whether it is so in this in workbook. So this is again is a very scenario they have mentioned. Okay, so whether it is depending upon your calendar days or working days, how the accrual month-end accrual will be happening. Okay, so whether it is depending upon their working hours or if they are considering, say, depending upon that you have to decide these different modifiers. Okay, so there will be different client will be might be using calendar days or they are using, say, working days only. Accordingly your payroll it may impact. Okay, so those, is there any specific wage types which is required for accrual? Okay, so is there any specific document type you'll be using for accrual? Okay, that information you'll be getting, you have to capture in this particular worksheet. Okay, so all those discussion you will be capturing here. Okay. So to be brief, like here, and this is actually there will be a specific accounting period. In the particular period, is there any closing date of a particular accounting period that you have to decide. The client will be saying that giving that information. Okay, but whenever there are two sides, one you can see one is the FICO side and there is HR side. Okay, so whenever you are doing any actual getting an actual payroll result and estimate payroll result. Okay, so you have to just capture. So all this information in a capture, or all this that payment is done before a particular closing date, a particular month. Okay, so you have to just make sure. So this is again from a process point of view, you have to just capture how this accounting period works, or what are those all those information will be related to the accrual. You will be capturing it here. Like you can say here, I will be using one example. Customer currently use the last Sunday of for each month as a cutoff for payroll posting. Okay, so it may happen, it will vary for you. Okay, so like say it is the last working day, or say last Friday of the particular month. You have to ask this information to the client. Okay, whenever you are capturing this information. So accordingly, your table, so related entry, table entry, it will be vary. So depending on calendar month and calendar day, all this information will be capturing here in this particular field. Okay, this is the month and accrual point of view. Similarly, the third-party remittance. So whenever you are doing any third-party remittance to the third-party authorities, okay, you can talk to different vendors. Okay, so all those vendor payment, is there any cutoff date? Okay, so all those information you'll be capturing here in the particular sheet, say garnishment, tax, benefits, welfare. Okay, so any health saving, health insurance related, any third-party vendors. Okay, so how interfaces you are doing and how you are doing that, how are going to capture those information and how it will be shown your EC payroll. That information will be capturing in this third party, whatever the third party remittances you are using. So the next one is the off cycle. As I was mentioning, off cycle, what are the possible off cycle payment for you? It can be an adjustment or it can be reimbursement. Okay, So you can use those specific information in this category of off-cycle payment. Okay, if whatever the client is using in the last on-premise, that also you can capture in the off-cycle payment section. Then comes your benefit section. In the benefit section, you'll be part of the is again a standard info type, general benefits 171. Okay, what are the benefits area, benefit configurations the client is using, what are the possible benefits like healthcare, dependent care, 401k. Okay, so those information will be capturing in this 401k plans or info type specific to info type 171. And there are some specific features also. Okay, like BARE to default a particular benefit group, default a particular grouping to a particular set of employees. Okay, that information you will be capturing in the benefits section. So this is again from a client point of view. And next is a process model. So process model, basically you have to provide specific process model for an executing a repetitive payroll task. Okay, so in this process model you have to just mention what are the process model you are using for your specific payroll countries. Okay, and is there any programs which is a part of that particular process model, you have to include in this particular sheet. Suppose you will be finding, say this example, say there are some pre-DME simulation, posting simulation. So these are the different program name. Okay, so whether you are using that or not, okay, that you have to capture it here. Is suppose if you are using any ADP extraction, then it will be captured here. Otherwise, you have to just leave that particular space. ADP extraction program we're not using. Okay, that information you'll be finding it here. Okay, in this. Is there any gap for the whenever you are designing this process model? Is there any difference in opinion of the clients? No, suppose a particular information or input types they are not using, or is there any possible development is required to the ADP extraction program? Then you have to coordinate with your ADP consultant or ADP vendor, which they will be doing some changes to the required, whatever required from the process model point of view. That information will be capturing in this particular sheet. Okay. So other than that, in the next sheet, you'll be finding some other information. Suppose what are the possible reports? Okay, so what are the schema their client is using at present? Is there any separate schema for a claim and reimbursement, or is there any year-to-date load schema? So what are the information the client is currently using the main payroll schema that you have to inform? If the client is a brand new, then you have to just mention that it is to be updated after EC payroll. So that in that way you can mention the schemas and all. The next most important is the reports. So there is a different ask for different clients. So whatever the standard reports provided by SAP, like the waste type report or payroll reconciliation report, is one of the most critical. Okay, so those payroll journal reports. So these are the standard reports which are available. Along with this, if the client asks for some specific reports, then you have to sit with your ABAPer. Okay, generally those reports can be created using ABAP, and you can host it in the EC payroll from an admin point of view. So those reporting decisions will be capturing here. Okay, what are the client is using specific to country payroll. That will be mostly. I have seen people ask for salary register, which is having a lot of around 30-40 columns. So generally, all the information related to the payroll will be captured here. But again, it depends upon the client, the customer. Okay, what are the reports they would like to download from SAP or EC payroll. Okay, that information will be captured here in this reporting section. Then next is your gaps. So gaps is actually here if there is any deviation, if the client wants and which is not possible in EC payroll. Okay, so those information will be capturing in this gap analysis document. Okay, in this sheet. Otherwise, if there is no gaps, you can just directly mention there is no gap and you can directly fill it up. You can skip it. In the last one is actually it is just an example, like whatever we have seen in the work schedule. This is just an example. What are the possible scenarios if the client is using? Okay, so how the shift will be seeing. Okay, is there any mid period hire? So is there any assumptions you are taking? Okay, like whether it is a how many same hours of each day or not. Really, this is related to your work schedule. Okay, so this is all about the EC payroll workbook, which you have to fill up along with your client whenever you are discussing. Okay, and it was, as I was mentioning, it is a live document which will be changing after each iterations depending upon your client requirement. But before go live, you have to just make sure it is signed off every 2 to 3 times depending upon the iterations number. Okay, and after post implementation you have to maintain, like suppose if you're doing any changes, then you have to update that changes in this particular workbook. Okay, so that is the only thing I just have to highlight here in the EC payroll workbook. So any questions here?
This workbook is basically customized, right, Nayat? Because I don't think not all the customers will use all these tabs. If I'm
Yeah. Correct. You are correct. So 100% correct. So depending upon the client scenarios, you have to just, as I was mentioning, if it is not relevant, you just remove those particulars. You don't confuse the clients by bombarding all the information because they will be overwhelmed with all this information. You have to just see with the customer what are the correct system and what is required for them. Only those things you capture, and the remaining seat you have to just remove it. Like as I was mentioning, you can remove ADP at all completely. Like they do not, the client is not at all using ADP. Okay, so you can just remove that. Okay, so then in each and every seat, whatever again, if you see whatever relevant for them, okay, only those information you capture, and this will be actually guiding document. Okay, so workbook will be a guiding document for all the future releases, all the future changes. Okay, it may happen in future. There will be some customer client specific process change. Okay, so in that case, so all those you'll be capturing all those gaps or any changes in this particular document, and it will be, you have to just after post implementation, this document you have to share with your client or the client IT team or the client super admin, payroll super admin team. They will be taking care of it. Okay, and if you are continuing to support, then you will be taking the ownership. Again, depends upon your how the payroll outsourcing model is. Okay, so depending upon that, you have to whether you'll be own this document during a support phase or who will taking this ownership of this document. That you have to decide depending upon your client setup. That is the only. Okay. Any other questions, Miradi, Rohini?
no, I'm good. So, are you gonna share this with us?
Yes, I'll be sharing this document. So this document actually is specific for US payroll, but suppose in the future, if you are implementing for any other country's payroll, then you have to do a customization of this. So
Oh,
depending
it's
upon
for
their
US.
study,
I thought it's Indian.
no. This is not an no. Which KDS which I have shown, that is from Indian payroll. Okay, so KDS is actually we call it a key data structure. Okay, so that I used to use whenever I was doing the on-premise payroll implementation 2 years back. Okay, so in that document where exactly your OMPA, time management, all those configuration nodes are there. Just you have to mention those information like whenever you're doing a on-premise implementation from scratch. Okay, so that document I'll be also sharing with you. Okay,
So,
so
Nat, if it's US, can you open that payroll areas and periods tab? In that, I saw only monthly. There is nothing called bi-weekly because when it was monthly, I thought, okay, it's an Indian payroll is what you're showing. I thought.
no, bi-weekly is also there. No, you can see bi-weekly is there.
Somewhere I saw just monthly. Okay. Yeah, I think
No,
it's my.
this is actually standard document which is given by SAP. You can change it. It's not like SAP doesn't give, tell that you have to use this particular tables and all. So depending upon your scenarios, you can change it. So you can make those changes in this particular sheet. It is just for your reference point of view. You can directly, instead of creating any document from scratch, SAP provides this template directly so that it will be easy to and ready to use during your customer workshop and all. That is the only thing. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So next I will be showing another document that is your time sheet configuration. But as in your what I was saying, as an EC payroll consultant, you don't have to go very detail of that particular document. Okay. So what I was mentioning, just let me open that time sheet. Only thing is, whenever there is an integration point, you have to decide. So this is a document which is basically your payroll time sheet configuration. So all this configuration will be done by your time consultant. Okay, but from a payroll point of view, what are the points you have to touch upon? Just I'll be mentioning that. So you'll be finding this in this document, and there are 12 different steps. Okay, like time type, allowance type. So Rohini and Mirali, have you worked before any time related configuration in EC? or any idea?
Yeah, I worked on this time profile, time types.
Okay, nice. Then it will be easy for you to understand. Okay,
Yeah.
so what I'm going to do, step number 1 to 10, it is coming directly from your EC time off. Okay, so only thing is you have to take care in the EC payroll. Okay, suppose if the client is using any specific custom field, that is in that you have to capture in the step number 11, which is the custom field section. Okay, like say any data type and any say customer, you will just mention those information, okay, like any rules they are using for overtime. Okay, so that things you have to capture it here in this particular sheet. Okay, the sheet number 1 to 10, it is directly coming from your time office, like your EC time consultant, you have to connect with them. Okay, or you are already implementing say time module, then you will be filling it up. Okay, so but it is not directly from EC payroll point of view. Okay, so from an EC payroll point of view, only the sheet number 11 and 12 will be relevant. Okay, so if any custom fields if you are using and that you would like to replicate, that will be capturing it here. And the sheet number 12 is important. Why? Because it's a all kind of validation rules. Okay, so if you are using, so this is just an example of I've given like validation rules, so which is actually for any kind of so I'll give you a scenario. Suppose you would like to, suppose an employee enter more than 4 hours for an learning or for say continued education, in they captured that, then you will be rejected. The time sheet will be giving an alert like you can't use more than 4 hours for continuing education or any learning related activities in your time sheet. Okay. So the respective business rules you can see. So if the time sheet day and time sheet time quantity in hours is greater than 4, then system will be giving some kind of error. It will system give raise a message, hours recorded cannot be over 4 for continuing education, please re-enter the previous value. Okay, it should be less than 4, but depending upon your, this is just an example to understand. So this kind of validation tools you can configure. So you have to ensure, so from a time sheet point of view, what other things are there in the payroll, EC payroll, those validation rules, the list of validation rules, you have to capture it here. Is there any other validation rules you have? Okay, that will be captured here. Whether it is an error, how the severity of that particular error, whether it is an error, it is a warning, or it is just an only information you would like to pass whenever the employee is filling it out, the time sheet. Okay, so those validation rules can be configured in the EC payroll. That we'll be seeing in the PCC how these validation rules are configured in the upcoming session. Okay, so this is just an overview of the workbook, but just I would like to highlight here. So all this sheet number 1 to 10, this time evaluation period, workflow. Okay, so who will be, suppose you are submitting a time sheet, who will be approving. Okay, so all this is information will generally directly coming from your EC time of module. Only thing is from an EC payroll integration point of view, you have to take care of this sheet number 11 and 12. Okay, custom fields and the validation rules. Okay, other than that, it will, remaining field will be filled up by your time consultant. Okay, that is the only thing. Any questions here? This is very simple. Only the validation rules you have to take care of it. Other than that, nothing here. Are you good? Shall we? Any questions here?
Yeah, no questions. Thank you.
Okay. So as I mentioned, today we having 1 hour session only. Just we will stop here. And tomorrow, what I will do, wherever we have left from that EC payroll integration point of view, we're discussing the prerequisites and the steps. We'll be starting from there itself. Okay, tomorrow we'll be seeing that. And once it is done, then we'll be moving to the topic of those Chronos, workforce, and the time sheet. How those are, I'll be highlighting the key areas from a certification point of view. Those are important also. Okay, so those we will be getting questions from Chronos, workforce. Okay, even if the client during the implementation, what happens if the client is not using Chronos and workforce, you can skip it. But from a certification point of view, those topics you will be getting questions. There are certain varieties of questions you'll be getting from those topics. Okay. So tomorrow we'll be completing that EC payroll side integration. Those which are the steps we missed, and those screenshots and I'll be taking from the live system, and tomorrow I'll be showing that, and then we'll be following up with those 3 topics, the time sheet related applications and all. So once it is done, then we'll be going ahead with the PCC, payroll control center. Okay, then yeah, that's my idea.
All right. Thank you, Nayak.
Yeah, welcome. Have a good day. Bye. Good night.
Bye. Good day.
Thanks, Matt.